Congratulations on the nomination. Very cool. I'm sure, everything's got to be fantastic there. But what does it mean to you to have your documentary film, Death by Numbers, be nominated for an Oscar and receive global attention that it has been?
Yeah, it's an incredible honor to be nominated as a producer on Death by Numbers. Our director, Kim A. Snyder, and my producing partner, Maria Cuomo Cole. I think one of the most meaningful things to us is that our writer and collaborator, Sam Fuentes, who is a survivor of the Marjory Stoneman Douglas school shooting, and just a brilliant, fierce, courageous, vulnerable young woman, kind of sharing her soul and her voice and her experience through her writing. It means everything to me to be able to bring her story to an audience and a larger platform in this way. You don't imagine being here when you start on a project. I think, especially for all the nonfiction nominees, we're coming from spaces where we've spent so much time in, very emotionally loaded, serious, timely things that are happening in the world that we feel like are important to share. And so this whole experience is kind of surreal being here now, but staying true to Sam and her story is the most grounding thing in this moment.
Definitely. And with obviously you've seen a lot in the process and everything there, but what are the challenges and like also not only the challenges but the rewarding moments in your role as a producer when it comes to maybe this film or putting together a documentary about school shootings, other tragic events in the United States that a lot of people can relate to?
Yeah, I think for me, uh, being able to work on a team that has been steeped in the gun violence prevention space for more than a decade. With Kim and Maria's work on Newtown, Maria had a short also, Living for 32, that was shortlisted. And just knowing that I have entered this space of storytelling, survivor centered storytelling with, a core team who really understands that space. And it brought a kind of trust and camaraderie that we knew we were all in this, really to, uh, maybe it sounds grandiose, but hopefully make a difference, for me to be able to work on something that will hopefully spark conversations around gun violence prevention, safe storage, like things that we can do as a community to make sure that nobody has to go through what Sam and her classmates and her community and so many others in this country have to go through because of gun violence. And yeah, so I'd say that's the most rewarding part. And working on a small team that's female led also, with Kim, Sam, Maria, and I working so closely. It's not the case on every film. It's a very male dominated industry. So there's a lot of uh, heart in there too for me, in that way.
Speaking of that sort of thing with women being in charge, how have maybe what progress have you seen in that lately in the field, starting with your team?
Yeah. Well, with documentary filmmaking, it's interesting that I think we're the category, whether it's the short or the features, just generally in the industry, that often does have more women at the helm. And so I feel good about that, but it's something I'd like to see kind of ripple further throughout. And so much of that comes down to um, who's making the decisions when it comes to funding, access to distribution, access to like who gets to share their story. A lot of those decisions kind of influence if I get to be in the room, if Kim gets to be in the room as a storyteller. And with documentary, I think we have less of those barriers when the storytelling process starts, and maybe it's more towards the getting the film out there side. But if you have a screenplay and you need to bring in the actors and bring in more money and financing and your locations and everything, those barriers are more visible from the beginning, if that makes sense.
Right.
Um, yeah, but I think every year I see reports of more women getting funding or more women directors getting opportunities, and it's something I hope to continue seeing.
And then, kind of the last area for you, bringing it back to Newhouse and Syracuse. How did your time as a magazine news and digital journalism major get you to where you are today? If you can just walk me through your time here and your
Yeah,
journey up till today.
yeah. So at Syracuse, I studied finance and magazine journalism, and I think I was drawn to magazine because I knew that I liked the kind of longer form investigative storytelling. And I loved the idea of being able to drop into a world and kind of immerse myself in something, like uh, be a specialist by proxy in a lot of different things and meet different people. And that was kind of my vision there. And also, I guess with magazine, it's like there's more visual and aesthetic side to that than maybe newspaper. So that's how I landed in magazine. And with finance, it was something I knew I wouldn't just learn myself. Like I was in the business school and I looked at the options and I thought, that's the one that somebody should teach me something about. Uh, and the two of those, it was interesting once I fell into filmmaking because I didn't know that that was even a thing that I could do. I didn't even know that producing was a job that I could have until I was at Syracuse and connected with other people who were in film or in the TV, radio, and film program. And it like my role now in film as a producer really does take things that I learned from magazine and journalism and finance when it comes to the accounting and budgets and team management and storytelling and interviewing and culling down years of material, into a concise story. So I I didn't do either of the exact things that I was studying, but I feel gratified that I use a lot of the things that I learned. And the other thing that I think is important, I guess if any student at Syracuse is watching this, that or reading this, that the alumni network is really everything. I would not be on this exact course that I'm on if it hadn't been for the opportunities that I had because of the alumni network, the NBC Olympics internship program that works with Syracuse, with the Newhouse School. That was a huge opportunity for me to kind of get immersed in um, the world of journalism and kind of motion broadcast coverage. And when I finished school, one of my classmates who was in film, he gave me my first opportunity to work on a documentary because I told him I didn't take any film classes, I didn't do any video classes, but I know now that that's what I want to do. And he brought me on to produce a short documentary with him. And when I moved to Portland, Oregon, kind of after finishing that documentary with Chris Tapino, I read in the alumni magazine that there was a woman, Annie Ton Siengsam, who, with her partner Brad Mosier, had started a company in Portland, Oregon, and they were Newhouse master's program graduates. So, because I read that in the alumni magazine and moved to this new town, I reached out to them as like one of the first people who I contacted, and I got a job after lunch. Like I had lunch with them, I got a job, and they trusted me. I think because of Newhouse, I think that that was definitely a big factor because I don't know how much else I could say like in a 1 hour lunch. They didn't check any references or anything. But I know for sure that that helped open, especially those early doors for me in a big way. So I'm grateful to that and would encourage any student to, read the alumni magazine and keep in touch with classmates because you never know where they're going to end up, even if it's not your exact major. So that made a big difference for me.